all about the meaning of life. And I then found this book. Let's see if I can... Oh, that's reversed. Every Time I Find the Meaning of Life, They Change It, by Daniel Klein. It is cool. It is cool. Yeah, it is really, really cool. I found, like, I don't know, I just, like, found it and then read it super fast. But this guy basically is a lifetime student of philosophy, and he collected over his life everything he could that had to do with the meaning of life from philosophy. So it's like a really eclectic read, but it's super cool. And yeah, like let me randomly pull a quote from it and see where that takes us. But yeah, so if you like that cast, you might like the book. All right, here's a quote from Epicurus, a Greek philosopher and a hedonist from 341 to 270 BC. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. It's very interesting. Hedonism. We should do a cast on hedonism. Oh my god. I don't like being sick. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, every time I find the meaning of life, they change it. So so that's what he does. He like has a quote from a philosopher, and then he does like 3 or 4 pages kind of breaking it apart and what he thinks about it. And it's kind of cool because he did this book I think maybe in his 80s, like, or towards the end, right? And that gave him a really neat perspective on the kind of these pithy beliefs or ideas about what makes life meaningful. Yeah. Like that, yeah, that kind of is true, Scott. Like, and as I read it, I was really interested in how, because, you know, he has these philosophers from, like, that span the history of philosophy, and a lot of them, I get, like, just a lot of religions hold, like, these ideas too, and, like, nothing, it's kind of like nothing is new, right? Like, everybody's had these thoughts before, and it's kind of cool to see expressions of the same thought come out of different cultures or different religions. Yeah, and, like, I had never really given any substantial thought to, like, being a hedonist and, like, finding the meaning of life in pleasure and, like, just pleasure. And so then pursuing a life of pleasure and only pleasure, like, I had heard of it and I knew people who do it. I mean, I don't know how many people do it, like, for the entire course of their life, because I think in the end it doesn't really bring lasting happiness to most people. But yeah, like, so I was really fascinated reading about, like, these philosophers were professional hedonists. Like, they lived it, they taught it, and that was pretty cool. And what I know out of positive psychology is that certainly pleasure and pleasurable emotions are part of what creates our well-being, and there are things we can do, again, to, like, cultivate positive experiences, positive feelings. But I also know out of positive psychology that doesn't alone create a life where we really feel alive and that it's meaningful and that we're flourishing. It's kind of cool how, like, modern research can then influence or add to, like, these philosophers, right? It's pretty cool. Here's another one. The goods of the mind are at least as important as the goods of the body. Bertrand Russell, British philosopher, logician, and humanist. I think philosophers have the best, like, taglines or job descriptions. Yeah. Hedonism when the kids are at school. That could be it. Yeah. Hedonism only when in Vegas. I mean, that's basically what our culture has done, right? Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That is the absolute, like, hedonistic mantra or war cry. There's a whole city dedicated to that. Too funny. Let's see. Kind of into this now. Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Okay, that's Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and philosopher, and that dude is awesome. Like, I'm tempted to try and read his Reflections book. I don't know if any of you guys have. I've heard about it. But what does that really mean? Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. I mean, how would you actually do? I feel like how do you put that into action? I mean, like, really, how do you do that? Because if I was like, okay, if I knew my last act, right, and I was planning for my last act, it would have to be something like, right, like telling somebody you love them or whatever, right? Like, I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like, everybody knows I love them. It's kind of an absurd notion, I think. But I can't really, my brain's not going deeper than that. But, like, how would you really do everything as if it was your last act? I guess I would have a lot more presence. Like, I would be a lot more in the present moment, because I sure as shit don't want to be thinking about, like, something that like a future task or a past regret in my last moment, right? Like, I want to actually experience that moment. Or maybe I don't. Maybe it'll be real painful and I would like to be in my imagination. Yeah, it probably is. Hi, Swap. Welcome. It probably is. Why wait for tomorrow? What you could do today. Yeah. It probably is something like that. I mean, that's also, I'm sure that's also in this lovely book. Oh, and this one's kind of related, and I love it because I also don't really understand it. It's from Viktor Frankl, who I talked about quite a bit last cast. He says, live as if you were living a second time, and as though you had acted wrongly the first time. I mean, I read his book, and I read that quote, and I was still like, what? So if I've acted wrongly the first time, I would feel bad. Hey, Yeti dude. And, ooh. Okay, I don't have duct tape. I can get some for next cast. Yeah, I appreciate that you'd follow me. But yeah, like, it's also okay if you don't follow me. So I am not going to run and get duct tape right now. But thanks for asking. I've had that request before. And I think it's a real thing that's out there. It is kind of weird, though. It is kind of weird and could be totally offensive because this is a just chatting cast to come on and ask that, but yeah. Well, I don't have duct tape, so it's not gonna happen today for sure. But yeah. Yeah, so live as if you were living a second time, and as though you had acted wrongly the first time. So if I'd acted wrongly the first time, like, that's the part that gets me, because, like, I would either be, like, ashamed or embarrassed for having been wrong, or I would be playing it safe because I don't want to be wrong again. And I just kind of, yeah, like, I don't know what Viktor Frankl is trying to say there. Like, I definitely understand in general that he, like, knows that the meaning of life is living for something larger than ourselves. Like, I know Viktor Frankl held that part. If I was living a second time, I'd be so grateful. Like, if I was aware that I had been alive before and died and I get to live again, I would be really grateful. So I can definitely be, like, have gratitude. Right? It is kind of like Groundhog's Day. Like, that was not... Who wants to be Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day? Not me. That sucked. That sucked for that man. That was awful. Okay, this one says, if you believe that feeling bad or worrying long enough will change a past or future event, then you're residing on another planet with a different reality system. This is William James, American philosopher, 1842 to 1910, and he is a classical pragmatist. That's pretty cool. I bet you he was a super pessimist. That's what I get out of that. Classical pragmatist. I wonder if he was. So if you believe that feeling bad or worrying long enough will change a past or future event. Hey! Thank you, Gamer Pro! Welcome! Welcome! Then you're residing on another planet with a different reality system. I love that. Feeling bad or worrying long enough. It won't change a past event, but do we really believe that worrying won't change a future event? Because certainly we worry can be very helpful, right? Like fear, anything in like the fear emotional family is beneficial when it helps us like survive, right? And prevent something that maybe isn't a good outcome. We can definitely take it way too far, and we tend to do that, right? Like we worry way too much about something that's not really important. But maybe I'm on another planet with a different reality system than William James, because I definitely have seen enough times where some worrying about a future event can actually change the future event. And I'm gonna take him like seriously, and not like, so you could say, oh, well, maybe he's just talking about like, you have cancer, so worrying about having cancer is now pointless and you're just causing your own suffering. And maybe that's the only thing he's talking about, but you can't do that with a philosopher. Like, they're very specific with their words. So if he says worrying about a future event, like period, and doesn't specify it beyond that, then he's just wrong. Ooh, I like the 555. Yeah, so Gamer Pro, that's the thing, like so many things in life, like it's good and it's bad, right? And it depends how we use it. Anything in the fear family, like worry, anxiety, like terror, right? Like you could go really high with it. All of that, like fear serves a purpose. Like it's there for a reason. It's like evolutionarily has been incredibly helpful. In our modern society, though, there's like our reaction to fearful things is usually much bigger than it needs to be. We react to things as if they're, literally like saber-tooth tigers coming to kill us when they're not anymore. So we tend to just in general have too much fear, and it gets in our way and keeps us from really flourishing and being happy. But yeah, I mean, it is sometimes good to worry, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking like things that I really care about, they cause me to worry, right? Because I really care about them. So I can take casting. When I first started, which was not that long ago, I worried about casting a whole lot. And what that allowed me to do is it it made me go, okay, I need to learn about casting. I need to learn about the software, and I need to learn about like sound and lights and all of those things that make a cast like bearable for viewers. And so if I didn't have that worry, I may have just shown up with such a bad cast that nobody would ever have watched me, let alone followed me. So our worry, I mean, we all like deadlines, right? Like I struggle with procrastination and deadlines eventually become super helpful because they are so present, so looming that I finally get my ass in gear and I finish the project. If I didn't have a deadline that caused that like worry pressure, and I didn't feel the worry that a deadline causes, I wouldn't get stuff done. And that would suck. So worry can be really, really good. We just tend to do too much of it, and we tend to do it to a point that it's not helpful, or we let it hold us back when really it's better for us to go forward. I don't know. What do you think, Gamer Pro 2019? That's what I think. Yeah, here, I'm gonna find another one. This is kind of fun. Do. But that sounded a little bit like Tailspin. Do. Tailspin. How does it go? Oh, I like that show. Okay, we did that one. Oh, here's another one from another hedonist. This is from Aristippus. He was a Greek and Libyan philosopher from 435 to 356 BC. Poor hedonists. I feel like Christianity came in and was like, no more hedonism. Because that hedonism did not come back for many years. Okay, so the quote is, "The art of life lies in taking pleasures as they pass, and the keenest pleasures are not intellectual, nor are they always moral." Yeah, Christianity definitely put the kibosh on that one. Yeah, me too, Gamer Pro. Me too. I think we all do. I think we all worry too much. And it's really easy to do, and like the way that I don't know like if you at all like beat yourself up for worrying, because that's like a whole nother level to being a worrier, right? Like when I find that I'm worrying and then I feel bad that I'm worrying because I know I shouldn't be, like that just adds a whole extra layer of crap onto it. So the way that I get out of that trap is I just remind myself that the things I worry about, it's because I care. It's because I care. And like when you care about something, it's very, very natural and very, very normal to worry. It's just like, it's what's gonna happen. Yeah. I'm curious, what do you do? Like, what do you do to help yourself stop worrying when you realize maybe you're doing it too much? Like, I know this is kind of cheesy sounding. I'll sometimes journal, or I'll talk to like one of my other coaching friends and get some coaching around it, and that really helps me stop to worry when I'm doing it too much. Yeah, the art of life lies in taking pleasures as they pass. I would agree with that part of it. I mean, because yeah, if we don't savor the pleasurable things that come our way, we're really like missing out on a lot of joy and a lot of the gifts of being alive. Yeah, yeah, Scott. yeah, that's a very common one. Yeah. You know, something about, I used to be an actress and I was just this like nerve ball of like nervousness all the time. And I remember like waiting to go into auditions, right? Like you're in the waiting room and there's all these other actresses that look like you, and they're all like, you hear them all like doing the lines that you're about to do. And that really fucks you up, by the way, because you want to do it your own way, and then you're like getting influenced by all these other like crazy people who are also just as nervous as you are. But I remember like all of the all of the training I got, like I would do like professional audition classes or whatever. They would try to teach you how to deal with your fear. And so like there would be like, oh, do deep breathing exercises. You know, like on 4 counts you breathe in, and on 4 counts you breathe out. And like I get it. Like I get that physiologically when you're relaxed, you can't also be fearful. Like your body just doesn't work that way. I could never calm my body down with breathing. It just didn't work. And like all of these tips that I kept getting from these classes, like none of it worked. And finally, the thing that helped the most was when I decided that I was just going to say, fuck it, I'm fearful. I'm not going to try to hide it. I'll just be fearful and let that be part of my existence when I walk through that door. And when I stopped trying to control my fear and like get over it, or like try to front that I wasn't afraid, like I actually lost a lot of my fear, which kind of fascinated me. And I don't know if that would be like applicable to like to like any of your lives, right? But there is something like that. So what I experienced was there was this like this break in my authenticity. Like everybody expected me to walk into an audition being confident, and I wasn't confident. And so that lie that I was doing like fucked me up, and like I never fixed it until I just decided not to lie anymore. And that I would like, if I'm fearful, I'd at least let myself express it. Like let my body be fearful. And that helped a lot. It helped me just own it and not live in like denial or something. So if you're at all like me and when you're not authentic, you just kind of, I don't know, that just kind of adds to the crap that you're feeling. It could help. It could help just to own it and just to be yourself. Wow, that ended up being really kind of lofty sounding, which is funny. But, oh no, man, am I rambling. Okay, so the art of life lies in taking pleasures as they pass. Yes, let's enjoy more of the pleasures that we get in our day-to-day lives. Just thinking like today is a beautiful day outside. I live in Los Angeles, and like stunning weather. And I know, like my friends in Denver. Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Have I like taken in that pleasure of the day yet? No. I really could, right? It would be good. Like the food I've eaten, I think I haven't even noticed the pleasure of that. I think I miss most of the pleasures that pass me by. They pass me by. And the keenest pleasures are not intellectual. I would definitely agree with that they're physical, obviously. Nor are they always moral. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say, right, that things that like are pleasurable aren't always moral. Dude, no. Scott, I've heard that it's like almost like a winter hurricane that you're going through. How do the kids even get to school? That's insane. Yeah, I can't, like, I grew up in the snow, and I can't even remember those days that well anymore. Like, LA has just made me into a pampered person. In that way, for sure. I would go insane being trapped in the house. Yeah. Yeah, nor are they always moral. I wonder what Aristippus? Aristippus? Aristippus. Aristippus. I wonder what pleasures back in ancient Greece weren't moral that he's talking about. I wish I knew more about history, or one of you guys could tell me that, because that's pretty cool. Because like I can apply it to today's like moral standards. And there's a lot that I think people consider, like there's a lot of things that, you know, aren't moral depending on your belief system versus things that are like maybe like capital truth, like capital T truth, immoral, like killing somebody, right? I would not do that. The windows are covered in ice. School was canceled. Oh my gosh. You're trapped in the house with the kitties. Whoa. Snow day party. All right, let's see. Oh, we got another hedonist. This is cool. Okay. David Pearce, British philosopher, 1962. He is still alive. Great. Our first surviving philosopher here. And a modern hedonist. Cool. We get another perspective. Genetic engineering and nanotechnology will abolish suffering in all sentient life. Yes, nanotechnology. I'm so excited he's talking about this. This project is ambitious but technically feasible. It is also instrumentally rational and ethically mandatory. So a hedonist who believes that genetic engineering and nanotechnology will abolish suffering in all sentient life. Wow, like, is he talking about physical and emotional suffering? I'm willing to go along on the ride with him and say that genetic engineering and nanotechnology could get rid of maybe all physical suffering because they're going to be getting rid of disease, and then little nanobots can go in and like remove my inflammation or whatever, or like fix my broken disc in my back, right? But I think I don't know, like, wow, could we genetically engineer our brains to no longer like no longer have worry, or to no longer have depression? Well, that is a really interesting point, Scott. Yeah, how much of the mental is caused by the physical? Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, like, if you have chronic pain, you're likely to have depression. There's something about the pain pathways in the brain causing the depression pathways. So, yeah, certainly controlled. And I know, like, having just been horribly sick, that, like, I made it worse by my mental thoughts. So, like, I would let the pain influence my thinking, and then my thinking would be, like, super dark. Like, I'm never gonna be able to breathe again. This is it, you know? So, yeah, like, they're very, very, very much linked. I just wonder if nanobots can go in and fix depression, or, it makes me think of, the documentary just came out relatively recently of the guy who free climbs, and like insane free climber, puts his life in danger, blah, blah, blah. Turns out that one of the reasons he's able to do this is his amygdala doesn't work like ours. Like, he doesn't experience a normal reaction to life and death situations. So kind of like he's already genetically engineered himself to not feel fear the way we do. And yeah, so I guess it is possible that we could maybe genetically engineer and nanotechnology away emotional or mental suffering. The question then becomes, do we really want that? Right? Like, would we actually like a life absolutely, completely free of all suffering? I think this is one of the points where my brain is just limited in what it's capable of understanding and grasping, because my gut says that I wouldn't want to be completely free of suffering. That I've just experienced a lot of beautiful things that come out of suffering. And I know from like a resiliency standpoint that my darkest times have been when I've done my best growth and have become a much better version of myself afterwards. And I think if we take away the adversity, we won't experience like self-actualization. And maybe we don't need to, right? Like maybe we can just be blissed out, pleasurable hedonists and not worry about it. Oh, I had never thought of EMP blasts in my nanobots. What am I gonna do, Scott? How am I gonna live forever? No. That is fascinating. Can we make nanobots biologically? Like, aren't they also working on that? Or at least were they part biological? Oh, life is so fascinating. So fascinating. Let's see. I'm enjoying this. We're going to keep doing it. Okay. Life oscillates like a pendulum, back and forth between pain and boredom. This is Arthur Schopenhauer, German philosopher, 1788 to 1860. He was a metaphysician. What's that? What's that? And an ethicist. Life oscillates like a pendulum, back and forth between pain and boredom. Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is like that part of the Matrix. Right? Like, I think, see, that's the thing is, like, can we really... Okay, like, people say we can't, like, understand happiness if you don't feel the opposite of it, right? Or pleasure without pain. And I don't think that's true. Like, we could absolutely experience happiness. Even if we never felt sadness, we can still experience happiness. I think we just wouldn't appreciate it. And it would, by becoming our normal, it wouldn't feel happy anymore. Like, it makes me think of, like, when I get, like, a really delicious dinner or, like a cheesecake. I love cheesecake. So, like, if I get something that I really, really love and I eat it, the first half, right, or the first several bites is like heaven. It is so, so good. But quickly, it becomes like my new normal, and it's just, it's okay. Like, it is what it is, but it's not special anymore. And I think that's what would happen to the pleasurable experiences if we didn't experience their opposites. I think it would just become normal, and it would be boring. And it wouldn't actually be pleasurable anymore. And yeah, I think I would reject it. I would want to experience the opposite so I could experience the high again. Life oscillates like a pendulum, back and forth between pain and boredom. Well, he was a pessimist, that's for sure. I don't know how you could say that and be an optimist unless you really loved pain and boredom. I don't know. Oh, yep. See, then the author follows it up with says, okay, I admit it. Every once in a while, I do hunger for a good dose of pessimism. Yes. Yeah, so, I don't know. That's interesting. I just think that believing that life is oscillating between pain and boredom, I just think that's a really, like, why would you, like, you could just have chosen to say anything. Why would you choose then, like, you could say life it oscillates like a pendulum back and forth between pleasure and fascination, right? Like, I do feel like it's an arbitrary choice here that he chose based on his, like, pessimistic worldview. I don't know, disagree with me, guys. Oh, this one's a long one. All right, so and if you guys are philosophy lovers and I'm butchering these names, call me out on it. I do not mind. But we have Albert Camus. He's a French philosopher, 1913 to 1960. He's an existentialist. And he says about the meaning of life, since these are all loosely related to the meaning of life, guys. There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide. Judging whether life is or is not worth living amounts to answering the fundamental question of philosophy. all the rest, whether or not the world has 3 dimensions, whether the mind has 9 or 12 categories, comes afterwards. Huh. Wow, so he really thinks that the most important philosophical question ever is whether or not life is worth living. See, this is the thing that, like, is so interesting or so hard about suicide. I want to, like, kind of agree with him in that, if I was to sit here and just, like, philosophize in general about whether or not life is worth living, I think philosophy can have some answers. But, like, if I'm doing it in general about everybody, right? But as soon as I'm considering, like, whether or not my life is worth living, what comes up for me in this context is that, like, I can't be objective. I can't be objective anymore because it's about myself, and I'm, like, emotions are so influential to our cognition, and they really get in the way of us being able to be objective and rational and to really think things through. And that's what's needed in philosophy, right? In order to really answer a question. So I think maybe we can, like, answer this question in general, but as soon as we start to, like, answer whether or not our lives are worth meaning or are worth living, our likelihood of answering that non-objectively, non-rationally is very, very high. I don't know, that's my thought on that. And it's obviously an intensely personal decision too. I don't know, this subject is hard for me because I've lost a loved one to suicide, and man, a lot of pain. All right, so William James, American philosopher, 1842. Oh, here's the other thing is I don't know if I'm okay. I started this cast by saying, like, I am an optimist, right? And I'm a life coach, and I specialize in resiliency, right? But I just think that no matter what, I don't know if I can make an absolute, I can't make an absolute universal statement, but what I want to say is that no matter what someone is going through, their life is still worth living. There are exceptions to that, right? Like, I think of someone who, the right to die laws in certain states where you have an illness that is going to kill you, and, like, they're brain tumors, and eventually you're gonna lose all faculty and you'll be in a ton of pain. Like, that's totally, to me, like, a, yeah, sure, like, you make your own choice. I totally respect you, for sure. But, like, just the vast majority of time, like, life is just worth living. It's just worth living. Anyways, there's, like, things just get better, and we are so much more capable of overcoming and becoming happy than we ever give ourselves credit for. Yeah, so I'm gonna move on because I'm getting real sad. But yeah, I just want to say, oh, and we have Scott. Okay, yeah. The joke is when people commit suicide, no one ever understands. People commit suicide and people go, I don't understand why, and I go, you don't? What do you live in a cotton candy house or something? You don't know about life and how it only disappoints. It gets worse and worse until it ends in a catastrophe. Yeah. yeah. And, like, that's the thing. Like, I also, I'm a non-believer, so, like, I definitely struggled with and still struggle from time to time with, like, dude, life eventually just goes into nothingness. Like, it's just nothing. You're just done. And that is an incredibly depressing thought to me. And like, yeah, and that's what comes up for me with that joke is like, well, yeah, like you don't understand, like that bit of me that's nihilistic about all of this definitely like laughs at that joke for sure. Oh, right. This was kind of interesting to go along with this one, the one we just did, or what we were just talking about. So William James, American philosopher. Did we already do this one? Uh-oh. I don't think so. I think I read it before we started chatting. My first act of free will shall be to believe in free will. Yeah, so in college, I took philosophy courses, and I remember like at least a solid month where like I was like completely fucked mentally, and I was completely lost because the like war the philosophy rages between determinism and free will like trapped my brain and just convinced me that we don't have any free will. And then I very much out of that like month or so of living believing I didn't have any free will, like talk about a belief that fucks with us and like holds us back in life, brings us pain. And I just was like, well, wait a minute, but I can choose to believe in free will and like be okay, like have happiness again, have hope again. And so I dig what William James is saying here, is that his first act of free will shall be to believe in free will. Yeah, and I'm just going with that one because I know the opposite doesn't work for me, which is silly that I can do it here, but I can't do it with God, right? That I'm a non-believer. So I'm a hypocrite too. Yeah, exactly, Scott. Yeah, that is for sure. Like, that is a legit thing that a lot of people choose to do for religion. Like, I've also heard, like, okay, so it basically goes like this. I believe in God because if I'm right, woohoo, great. Like, God exists. No, this is not the way I should say this. I believe in God because to not believe and be wrong means I'm going to hell. So, but to believe and be wrong means nothing. So yeah, it's the same kind of argument. Like, yeah, like which one makes me sleep better at night? Which one will really fuck me over in the afterlife? Yeah. Hi, St. Just Germany. Welcome. So yeah, it's the same thing. And that's the thing, like, I'm totally choosing to believe in free will. And I really hope neuroscience at some point proves me right, because wouldn't that be great? I think the reality is, like, can we have, like, a mixed reality where we have free will, but we don't have free will? Because I feel like reality is really complicated around this issue. I certainly probably feel like I have a lot more free will than I actually do. Right? Because all of these things influence who we are, and we are these balls of genetics that express themselves, you know? But, yeah. I love that we're talking about these, like, crazy, huge, unanswerable philosophical questions on Twitch. It's great. It's great. Oh, I don't know if I can... Okay. Jean-Paul Sartre, French philosopher, existentialist again, 1905 to 1980. Existence precedes essence. I don't know, guys. That alone, what does he mean by essence? Does anybody know Sartre? I recognize his name. Let's see. I'm just scanning the author's notes to see. Tailspin. What is the Tailspin theme song? Oh, that's right. I can't hear you guys. You're not going to be able to help me out with Tailspin. Yes. Okay, so BB Morty. Yes. Current, like, neuroscience is not very generous on the idea of free will for sure. God, 5 whole seconds. That's crazy to me. That's 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000. So like I thought about saying that's crazy to me, right? Like 5 whole seconds before I said it. Wow, like that blows my mind. Yeah. And I definitely like have experienced where like you have a thought and like you are, so I do a lot of my processing externally, which maybe is why I experienced this, but like I'll start speaking before I really have the thought formed, but it's like I can feel it coming out of my brain. I can like feel my brain putting it together as it comes out through my vocal cords. So like I know that it's created in my brain. I just didn't know 5 whole seconds before I actually do it. Yeah, like talk about like lag. That's, like we were walking around with a huge amount of like thought lag. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, BB Morty. That's, wow. Dang. All right, here we go from Nietzsche, German philosopher, 1844 to 1900. Philologist, philosopher, and social critic. What is a philologist? He says that the secret of the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment of existence is to live dangerously. Ooh, I like this one because I like taking risks, especially emotional risks. Well, no, I like roller coasters and that kind of things too. But yeah, to live dangerously. The secret of the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment of existence is to live dangerously. Oh, you can't do that to me, Scott. No. How much in the past? 5 seconds in the past? Like, how much are we living in the past? So yeah, can we then ever be in the, so we never truly are in the present, is what you're saying, because reality takes time to become reality for us. Okay, so here's the thing. This is like creating the emotional panic I had when I learned about determinism versus free will. But does it really matter? I mean, it doesn't really change anything for me. It basically just means that the present time for a human being is like 5 seconds in the past. And since time is irrelevant or whatever, according to Einstein, it doesn't matter, right? Yay! I don't know. The secret of the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment of existence is to live dangerously. So I don't know about the greatest, but I do fully believe that to live a full life, a happy life, a meaningful life, one where we're really flourishing, we do have to live dangerously, because I've thought a lot about this. Everything that is worthwhile to me lives outside my comfort zone. So, like when I think about the people I love or my friends, like in order to have amazing relationships, it requires some level of risk taking, right? Like it requires some level of you being willing to get vulnerable and share that with somebody so that you can have an intimate relationship. So if you're not willing to live fearlessly, you're never going to have, I think, relationships that really are the kind of relationships that I think we all want. So that's one example. Anything that's like outside ourselves, like goals, they all require us to take chances. Every single one of them, like nothing is safe. So yeah, I pretty much agree with this one. He's also the one that said that he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. And that's also one of my favorites. And which basically means that if you are living your life in service of something larger than yourself, like a really strong why, like a really strong mission, then you really can, your likelihood of overcoming anything is much higher. Your resiliency, like, score goes up. That doesn't mean, obviously, that we literally can overcome everything, right? Like, there are certain things that kill us, right, that we don't really overcome. But other than that, yeah, I need to read more Nietzsche. Because so far, I've liked what he had to say. But again, like, talking about the downside to optimism can be, like, carelessly taking risks. Like, taking risks that you really shouldn't take. And that's where I struggle. Like, I don't really know sometimes where the line is between, yeah, this is a risk I should take, and, oh, Catherine, no. Okay, I'm reading chat. Yes. Okay, so I'm so glad you said that, St. Just Germany, because totally true. Like, if we're outside our comfort zone all the time, we do, like, we're just in a state of panic. And that's not pleasurable. That's not going to help us stay healthy. That's going to be chronic stress. So yeah, it's about living life in a way that you're doing, like, stretching yourself outside your comfort zone for a little while and then going back. And doing it in a way that's sustainable is totally ideal compared to just, like, going, like, whole hog, and living in fear all the time. That's not really going to get you where you want to go either. Yeah. Hi, Mrs. Scott Evans. Welcome. Yeah. So yeah, really well put about the comfort zone. And, like, so I have a tool that I do called the Fuck It Bucket, and it's where, here, I'll show it to you. It's right here. So it's a mason jar that I covered in stickers. But what I do is I put a bunch of, like, actions in there that make me physically or emotionally uncomfortable a little bit. So they're stretch actions. They're not things that terrify me or hurt me. And they're things that I can do instantly. So when I get to the end of a day and I haven't done something that's scared me, right, where I've had to take a chance and get vulnerable, I reach into my bucket, I take out an action, and I do it. But why was I bringing this up? Oh, dang it, this cold. I'm just going to keep blaming my bad thinking on my cold, and hopefully I'm sick forever. I had a point for you. Oh, wow, BB Morty, that's interesting. Yeah, being outside your comfort zone when you're pregnant. So, like, I'm not a mom, but I would imagine, and having known many of my friends now who have had kids, there's no way to not be outside your comfort zone when you're pregnant. Right? It's just, it's part of the process, because that is a huge change the mom is going through, and same for the dad, right? Like, it's a very exciting, but a very scary time. And I think with that in mind, yes, yeah, exactly, Mrs. Scott Evans. Yeah, and then the child is always going to bring you outside your comfort zone. Yeah. So I think the more important part when you're pregnant is probably to manage it as best as you can, like, knowing that it's going to happen, and maybe not pushing yourself to, like, maybe not, like, doing this every day, right? Like, you kind of don't need it, because you're already going through such a growth and a change. And yeah, because the reason why I do this is because I always want to be, I remember what I was going to say. So I'm always working on my comfort zone. And once these items get comfortable, I throw them out, and I get ones that make me a little bit more uncomfortable. So I'm always, like, growing and stretching my comfort zone and making it a little bit bigger. And what that allows me to do is to just do more things in life that used to make me afraid but no longer do. And that's pretty cool. It's a way to continually grow in kind of a gentle way, because I'm only doing things that are like slightly outside my comfort zone on a regular basis. But yeah, like during pregnancy, like it's just gonna be stressful. So it's a matter of, I would think, if you can, like managing stress and being outside your comfort zone in other areas of your life, and maybe choosing to not start a new business or something at the same time, right? That'd be kind of, people have probably done it. Probably crazy. Okay. Oh, this is, wow, I'm really going to butcher this one. You guys ready? Giacomo Leopardi. Giacomo Leopardi. There we go. That one's better. Yes. So Italian poet and philosopher, 1798 to 1837. He's a pessimist. They literally say pessimist after his death day. That, if you're gonna put pessimism somewhere, it should be maybe right after your death date. Okay. He says, nature, with her customary beneficence, has ordained that man shall not learn how to live until the reasons for living are stolen from him, that he shall find no enjoyment until he has become incapable of vivid pleasure. Interesting. I feel like he might be saying what we were kind of talking about, where if you don't feel pain, you can't feel pleasure. So he's maybe saying until you have suffered, you really can't live fully, or you really can't experience vivid pleasure. Some of these are so unsatisfying, like just having that little snippet out of his probably much greater text. Like, how do I know really what he's saying there without reading the rest of it? I don't know, the author sums this section up by saying, a quote from Woody Allen, "My one regret in life is that I am not someone else." I felt that way before, for sure. I don't know what he's saying. Nature. Well, part of the problem is I have no idea what beneficence is. Beneficence. Has ordained. So nature, with her customary has ordained that man shall not learn how to live until the reasons for living are stolen from him. That he shall find no enjoyment until he's become incapable of vivid pleasure. Yeah, I think it's like you have to go through fire before you can really live. And there is, I don't think that that's universally true, but maybe it is in the sense that if you don't ever experience pain or suffering, then you can't possibly appreciate its opposite. But I do know that, like, on the flip side of adversity is often really beautiful things that happen for us, like as we change and grow and become stronger. I don't know. Ooh, Bertrand Russell is coming back, guys. British philosopher. Oh. Yeah, that's right. It kind of is like that saying that you don't know something and, like, you don't appreciate something until it's taken away. Yeah. Yeah. And we know that that doesn't have to be true, right? Like, we can just take time to appreciate and be grateful. Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, coming out of my horrible flu, like, is life any sweeter now than it was before? And I would say no. Like, it's still just as sweet as it was. That's interesting. All right, Bertrand Russell, British philosopher, logician and humanist, 1872 to 1970. The goods of the mind are at least as important as the goods of the body. Well, yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like right now my lungs are struggling. Like I have asthma. Whenever I have a cold, it like really makes me struggle. So yeah, I definitely remember back to like when I could take a full breath of air and how pleasurable that used to be. Yeah, the goods of the mind are at least as important as the goods of the body. I mean, yeah, like I think of my grandma who has dementia, right? Like if you've seen somebody that literally is losing their mind, like it's very clear how lucky we all are to have brains that can remember people and appreciate and like create continuity in our lives. It's pretty amazing. Right into the microphone. All right. Oh, Ralph Waldo Emerson, American philosopher, guys, and a transcendentalist. I vaguely remember that from my history books. 1803 to 1882. It is one of the blessings of old friends that you can afford to be stupid with them. And then there's us that are just stupid with new friends, too. But there is something in that where, like, when I think of, like, my longest term friends, that there's just, like, they're kind of more like family, right? Where you can just, like not put up any fronts and, like, not be, like, your overly polite self, and you can just be super real. That's pretty great. It is, and that is probably something that I don't appreciate enough. Like, I know my friends, I love my friends, but I think appreciating the fact that I've had friends that have been in my life now. Like, let's see, my oldest friend, I was 10. So, a long time. A long time. I'm like 80. You can't tell, but I'm 80. Yeah, like mental health and physical health, they're both, like, that's the thing, like, health overall is one of those things that, like, when you don't have it, your life really doesn't work and you have to struggle to make it work. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Okay. Paul Tillich, theologian, 1886 to 1965. He says, our language has... There are no women! There are no women in this book. Are there no women? I know historically, like, there have not been women philosophers because women weren't allowed to, like, read or write. But I don't think there's a single woman in this book. That's bull crappy. I'm flipping through it. There are none. I think we just proved that women are stupid. Not really. That was a joke. That was a joke. How sad. All right. What does this male theologian say? Our language has wisely sensed the two sides of being alone. It has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone, and it has created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. Ooh, I like it. I like it. I just read an article today on, it was from an introvert that was basically saying, like, stop feeling bad for us when we're eating dinner alone or at the movies alone. We want to be alone. So it was just really cool. Obviously, I'm an extrovert, so it was really cool to have an article that was just telling me what it's like, what the pleasure of being alone is like for someone who's more introverted. Yeah, like, because I like to be alone, and I have to be alone too, and I do find it really pleasurable, but, like, not nearly to the extent that this lady was sharing in her article and the way she feels. Solitude is to express the glory of being alone. Loneliness to express the pain. That's really kind of pretty. Yes, I'm sure you do, especially because you're been locked in the house for a couple days. Robbie Rob. I love that you used my turn back at me. Yeah, I definitely... It's so, like, when you start paying attention to, like, the thoughts you're having in your mind, it's really fucking fascinating because, like, so I will notice that I'm doing what you're talking about. Like, I will have, like, I'll think about my hindsight being 2020, right? And I'll be, like, ruminating on, like, how I could have done something better. And, like, being aware of me doing that is one thing. And then, like, over time, what I've realized is just how that, like, rumination, like, doesn't help me at all. Like, it just, like, makes it worse. Like, it keeps me trapped in that past. Yeah. Okay, we're going back to the ancient Greeks. Aristotle, Greek philosopher, 384 to 322 BC. Oh, and for those of you that weren't here earlier, this has been fun, so I kept doing it, but it's a book called Every Time I Find the Meaning of Life, They Change It by Daniel Klein. And I found this after my last cast about the meaning of life. And he's a student of philosophy, and what he did is his whole life took, like, pithy sayings from different philosophers on their belief of the meaning of life, and then towards the end of his life he put it all together in a book and reflected on the sayings. So I'm just, like, going through randomly pulling some of the sayings out, and then we're talking about it. So Aristotle says love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. Okay, well, that has caused a lot of problems, I think, in modern relationships. Because I think of people who, like, are looking for a soulmate. Like, if they're literally thinking that they are not complete until they meet somebody else's soul who's the perfect fit for them, their standards are going to be so high. And maybe not just really high, like unattainably high, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Mrs. Scott Evans. Yeah, like so unattainably high that also really vague. Like, if I'm only half of a person, how do I know what half I am and what half I, like, how do I know what the qualities are or the traits are that would complete me? And without that clarity, how will I ever find that person and be confident that I found that person? And then if I do have the clarity, then all of a sudden, like, it's a really tall order for any human being to fulfill. And I also think it's just not true. I just don't think it's true that, I mean, the whole idea of a soul in of itself is very complicated for me. Like, I'm very, very doubtful. But then taking that step further and saying that we're all, like, half of a soul, and then only one other person that hopefully they happen to be alive at the same time. And like, what are the chances that they're going to be someone that you're attracted to? Like, you know, what if my soulmate ended up being a woman? You know, and I'm attracted to men. Like, what do you do then? Right? Like, it's just super, super, super probably not helpful. Yeah, like, we just don't seem like a single soul, honey, so let's call it quits. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that one's very helpful, Aristotle. That's got to be coming. Oh, okay, so the guy here, Daniel Klein, is saying that what Aristotle meant by a soulmate was really something more akin to complete friendship. And that, complete friendship is that of good people, those who are alike in their virtue. They each alike wish good things to each other insofar as they are good. Okay? They are disposed in this way towards each other because of what they are, not for any incidental reason. And such friendship is, as one might expect, lasting, since in it are combined all the qualities that friends should have. Or he says it's felt as an excess of friendship towards the single person. Anyway, so it seems to be that back in Aristotle's time, when he said love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies, he didn't mean it romantically. But then we, as a modern society, took that and ran with it. I wonder, who's the first person that did that? Someone had to have popularized that. Exactly. Yes, Thelius. Yes, I need to go on dark mode on this, on my chat. I will do that. Oh my god, I love that emote, Mrs. Scott Evans. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Yeah. And like my husband's like my best friend, and like I'm super, super happy being with him. But is he the other half of my soul? Probably not. No, he's not. It's stupid. It's just stupid. Okay. Here we go. Jean-Paul Sartre, French philosopher, existentialist, 1905 to 1980. Wow, 1905 to 1980. He saw so much. Okay. Nothing happens while you live. The scenery changes. People come in and go out. That's all. There are no beginnings. Days are tracked onto days without rhyme or reason or an interminable monotonous addition. It can certainly feel like that way. It certainly can feel that way, I think. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Scott, you're famous. Fine. I want that emoticon. Oh, so great. Makes me so happy. Okay, nothing happens while you live. The scenery changes, people come in and go out, that's all. There are no beginnings. Days are tacked onto days without rhyme or reason. An interminable, monotonous addition. So this, to me, is a really good example of, like, if you believe that, like, it's a choice. It is a choice to believe that. And I can definitely, like, relate, because there have been times in my life where I've felt, like, very similar. Like, when I've been really sad and like life just like nothing kind of matters, nothing ever really excites me, and life is just dull and boring, and it kind of just is very monotonous, right? Like I can relate to it, but I also then see it as a choice, because life doesn't have to be that way. And so this makes me think of how we all hold beliefs, right? They literally form our worldview, how we see the world. And those beliefs either serve us and our happiness and our resiliency, or they don't. They undermine us. And this, to me, is a really good example of a belief he has that probably didn't bring him any happiness, right? Because he's saying life is meaningless, it's monotonous, it's boring. Yeah, I don't know, that's what comes to me for that one. Let me see, let's do some more, because I'm having fun. Oh, here's the dude. Here's David Klein. Let me see if there he is. Oh, I just lost my place. Balls. Okay, hold on. Oh, I think I found it. Okay, David Hume, philosopher, British empiricist, 1711 to 1776. Something happened in 1776. The life of man is of no greater importance to the universe than that of an oyster. I would agree with that one. It doesn't, to me, diminish my life at all. Because but I do think that the universe it's impersonal, right? Like it's full of atoms and gas and yeah. Oysters are very simple life forms, people. Very simple. I'm not even sure they're capable of feeling pain. The life of man is of no greater importance to the universe than that of an oyster. So let's say that, like, yes, we are just specks floating in the winds of time. Yes, I think so. I think so. So my question then is, does that matter? Like, does that all make any of us less important? Or, like, our lives? Like, because that to me doesn't at all diminish what I feel like the value of my life is. It also doesn't, like, elevate the life of an oyster, right? But I think that I think that there's such beauty in us just existing, and that like just sharing this space, right? Like where we can like talk through chat, and like be all over the country, all over the world. Even though none of us matter to the universe, it doesn't mean that we don't matter to each other. And for me, that's more than enough. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm reading it like the life of a man is of no greater importance to the universe than that of an oyster. As in, like, oh, the universe doesn't fucking care. But it could be that the universe really cares. It just cares about us and oysters the same. That's interesting. I don't think the universe cares. But yes. Yes. Oh, Rabbi Rob. Yes, pop music. Yeah. Hi, dear Nico. It does. It just does its thing. Robbie, Rob. That comment about pop music. It's so true, right? Like, why do we like it? Why? Yeah, so, but what do you guys, like, do you guys get out of the universe not caring? Like, do you get any sort of negativity from that? Because I could see how, for some people, that might, like, be a depressing thought, you know? It isn't for me anymore. But I think when I first started to become a non-believer, that kind of stuff was a little depressing. I just stopped looking for my value and my worth from a higher power, and then it wasn't depressing anymore, but... Oh my god. I'm gonna be thinking about that pop music comment all day. Where was I? I was in, I think I was in IKEA, and I heard New Kids on the Block in IKEA. So weird. So weird. And having lived through New Kids on the Block, like, and then what would the next round have been? Like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and then like, you know, being older and not living through that anymore. All of the music's the same. So yeah, it's a really great monotony. Okay, no negativity, yeah. All right, here we go. We got Gorgias of Leontini, a Greek orator and philosopher, 485 to 380 BC. He's a sophist and proto-nihilist. Proto-nihilist. I feel like I need to steal some of these phrases. Okay, he says, first and foremost, nothing exists. Second, even if it exists, it is inapprehensible to man. Third, even if it is apprehensible, still it is without doubt incapable of being expressed or explained to the next man. Okay, well, he thinks nothing exists. But if it does exist, we're incapable of understanding it, let alone expressing it or explaining it to the next person. So I definitely think that, like, there are things that are beyond our brain's ability to comprehend, that we take things in through our senses. Kind of like what Scott was saying earlier about us living in the past, because our senses take time to process the data that's coming in, so that by the time we have awareness of the present moment, it's the past. Yeah, like, we're limited by that stuff. You know, like I seeing the color spectrum of dogs is so different than our color spectrum. But just think about how much our perception of color influences everything about what we believe to be true about our reality. And how we know that varies from animal to animal. So yeah, I think things do exist. At least they do for me, and that's in my own reality, and that's enough. But there are certainly things that are way beyond our comprehension as a species, and also like way beyond like my comprehension as a person, like, for sure. So yeah, proto-nihilist. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, we have Samuel Beckett, an Irish novelist and playwright, 1906 to 1989. Absurdist. Okay. Oh, this is not going to be as fun. It's 2 lines from a play, Waiting for Godot. And Estragon says, "We always find something, eh, Diddy, to give us the..." Yay! Hi, thank you! You just interrupted a very lame quote, and I think I might just move on. "We always find something, eh, Diddy, to give us the impression we exist?" And then Diddy says, yes, we're magicians. That's basically what I've been doing, right? Like, I've been saying, there may be no meaning, or, we may have no free will, but do I really care? I'm gonna choose to believe in free will. Wait, did you really stop brushing your teeth because you have faith in your DNA? I want to know how my DNA can help me stop brushing my teeth. All right, I'm just moving on. I don't like Waiting for Godot. Yeah, we're just gonna skip that. We're just gonna move on. Okay, Aldous Huxley, British novelist and philosopher, 1894-1963, social critic, humanist, and spiritualist. He says, "The philosopher who finds no meaning for this world is not concerned exclusively with the problem of pure metaphysics. He is also concerned to prove that there is no valid reason why he personally should not do as he wants to. For myself, the philosophy of meaninglessness was essentially an instrument of liberation, sexual and political." I feel like there's a lot to unpack there. Let's see. Okay, so wait, do you still floss? Because I feel like food will still get stuck in your teeth. And that could cause rot. Like the meat, right? Could still get... Okay. Okay. So he's just talking about ethics, right? And why we shouldn't do whatever it is that we want to do. And that if you believe that life has no meaning, that essentially you'll be like liberated sexually and politically because nothing matters. Yeah, there's a lot there. I'm not feeling this one. Let me know if you guys are, but I'm pretty sure you're not as well. Too long, too much for me right now. Okay. Oh, this one, okay. John Barth, American novelist, 1932, he's still alive. 1930 dash, not 1932. Okay, existentialist. There's a great difficulty in making choices if you have any imagination at all. Faced with such a multitude of desirable choices, no one choice seems satisfactory for very long by comparison with the aggregate desirability of all the rest. Though compared to any one of the others, it would not be found inferior. Yes, this is my life. This is paralysis analysis. Like, where you see so many options. This, I think, is like, maybe one of the dark sides to being optimistic is that, and at least this is from my own experience, like, I see a bunch of possibilities and then I'm like paralyzed and I don't know how to choose one over the others, and I'll like think about it like forever. I'll ruminate it on like for days and days and days, and then when I do choose one, I tend to like have like the grass is always greener about the other ones that I didn't choose. And then it also feels like I'm a failure because I've had all these ideas, but I've only like put one into action. It's so annoying. So annoying. Interesting. Any other animal that flosses? No, there aren't. Are you, I'm curious, Duder and Joe, are you like doing like, are you gonna like follow up with the dentist in like a year just to see how if it's working? Because like I have people in my family who basically are doing what you're doing just because they didn't like to brush their teeth, and outlook is not so good for them. I don't know what it would be like for you, but for them it was not very good. Do 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 do. Tailspin. Do do do. I have not seen that show in bajillions of years. Okay. John Stuart Mill, English philosopher, 1806 to 1873, utilitarian. All right, utilitarian, hit me. In the Golden Rule of Jesus of Nazareth, we read the complete spirit of the ethics of utility. To do as you would be done by, and to love your neighbor as yourself, constitute the ideal perfection of utilitarian morality. Okay, so utilitarianism basically means that you do, your actions should be for the greatest good, right? So you're willing to sacrifice the one if it saves the many. That would be ethically permissible, right? So then he says that the golden rule, right, I can't be reading a different version of the golden rule. I'm trying to quote the other one. So that then the golden rule, do unto yourself or do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself, is the ideal perfection of utilitarian morality. I don't know how this has to do with the meaning of life, Daniel Klein. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. How does that do the meaning of life? Yeah, I don't know. Oh no, I've seen The Good Place, Robbie Rob. Yes. Yes! Save, quit, reload. Yes, confirmation bias. That's the thing, is like, we all have confirmation bias. Absolutely. And that, like, this is like gonna get me off on a whole different tangent, but oh my gosh, that's like, okay, so I think, okay, I have confirmation bias. So I look at my beliefs and then I challenge them, right? Like that's the ideal, right? You go out and you try to find contrarian evidence. Where do we go to get that evidence today? Like, what do I do? Like, the internet is, like, there's no fact checking, right? There's, same thing with media. Like, it's all, like, anybody can write whatever they want. I feel like there's just, like, there's the standard of truth is so, it's, like, such a slippery slope, and we've, like, slid all the way down the slope, that then really sets us up and fucks us over with our confirmation bias, because we don't then have trust in the facts that we find that then can maybe be contrarian to what we believe. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Oh, okay. Peter Singer, Australian American philosopher and moral philosopher, 1946 to present. I don't think there's much point in bemoaning the state of the world unless there's some way you can think of to improve it. Otherwise, don't bother writing a book. Go and find a tropical island and lie in the sun. So he's tired of hearing people complain without them coming up with any solutions. I don't blame him on that one. That one's hard for me sometimes. Like, you know, when like someone's like complaining about something, but they just want you to fix it. Like they're not willing to like participate in solving the problem. That pushes my buttons for sure. Yeah, and if you think the world is fucked and it can't be fixed, you might as well go find a tropical island and lie in the sun. That sounds pretty good. You'll be the first to drown in global warming. Oh my god, we're learning about elephants. I love this. 6 times? I don't want to go through that. That'd suck. So elephants are like sharks. They're like plant-eating land sharks. Oh my god, so great. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. Niccolo Machiavelli, Italian philosopher and diplomat. Political philosopher, 1469 to 1527, wrote The Prince, right? Which was basically the ethics of being a bad person. So he says, a man who strives after goodness in all his acts is sure to come to ruin, since there are so many men who are not good. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of people who aren't good. I think that's totally safe to say. I'm not sure that if you strive for goodness... Okay, so this might be true if you're a king or a president. Maybe. Like, I would hope that you'd always try to be good. But, like, for everyday people, like, if you're always striving after goodness in all of your acts, I don't think you're sure to come to ruin, because people like good people, and you're going to have a lot of support. That doesn't mean you won't get fucked over by a bad person, but it means that if you do, you'll have a huge support network. So yeah. Oh. Yeah, so save, quit, reload. Yeah, I mean, goodness, like, what is goodness, right? Like, we all have, like, what you're saying is we all have our own definition of it. And, it is open to interpretation, for sure. And so, like, I think, yeah, like morality is something that, like, philosophers, that's super complicated, and philosophers treat it like it's super complicated. But, like, in my own life, it doesn't seem that complicated. Before I do something, I either, like, am feeling bad I'm about to do it, or I'm feeling good I'm about to do it. And that's pretty much enough for me. But, like, I really care about people. So I can trust like my own, you know, judgment. Like I would rather hurt myself than hurt another person. So for me, like I look at morality and I go, what's all this talk about? Don't we all just want to love each other? I realize that's not the case for everybody. But yeah, it is open. It is totally open to interpretation. Oh my gosh, Robbie Rob, you're thrown in the cognitive dissonance with a confirmation bias. That's like Alice going down the rabbit hole. That is yeah. Like how can you have confirmation bias while you are going through dissonance and not knowing where truth is? That is scary stuff. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that the tooth combo is still going. So great. Oh, I tried like switching to like a homemade toothpaste. Such not a good idea. It was like baking soda and not a good idea. I don't recommend it. It was one of those stupid things I did to like try to get the toxins out of my toothpaste. Yeah, no. Caused like gum recession. That's why I was thinking you might want to just follow up with your dentist, because I thought I was doing something really good, and it wasn't. Oh, right. Machiavelli, that was fun. Okay, okay. Joshua Green, American psychologist and philosopher, 1976 to present, behavioral psychologist and moral philosopher. He says, our moral heartstrings were designed to be tugged, but not from very far away. But it's not because it's morally good for us to be that way. It's because caring about ourselves and our small little tribe helped us survive, and caring about the other groups, the competition, didn't help us survive. If anything, we should have negative attitudes towards them. We're competing with them for resources. Yeah, so he's just, you know, making an argument from evolution, which I think makes sense, and or he's explaining why it is that we tend to care more about the people that are close to us than the people that are far away, and it was because it helped us survive. Doesn't mean that that's the way that's going to help us, you know, survive in our modern world, but that it has helped us to this day. Yeah. I don't know, like, again, how does this help with the meaning of life? I feel like the author is going around. Derek Parfit, British philosopher, 1942 to present, analytic moral philosopher. Do they make up their own titles? Like, who makes these titles up? Oh my gosh, save, quit, reload, I'm reading. Okay, yeah. There's also the idea that, like, some kid somewhere has created our universe. It's like a video, like a virtual reality experience. And that's the thing, like, we don't know. Like, we don't know. And if I think about it too much and let myself go there, like, I start to panic. But then again, I calm down because I go, okay, if a kid invented myself or if I invented myself, does it really matter? Does it really change what I love about my life or the things that I find enjoyment in? And it doesn't for me. So I'm able to kind of like escape it that way. All right, so Derek Parfit. People deserve much less punishment, or even perhaps no punishment, for what they did many years ago as compared to with what they did very recently. Interesting. I wonder why he's... So he must be saying that personal identity is a slippery slope, that we change over time. And because we've changed, can we really be punished for something we've done in the long-term past? And, like, it makes me think of how, like, I forget, like, the amount of time it takes. I think maybe 7 years for all of our cells in our body to be completely new. So literally the version of me that existed in the past doesn't exist today. I'm a completely different cellular entity, which blows my mind. And how do you punish this current cellular entity for that version in the past? I think don't we also punish to prevent like future punishment? So like the thought is if someone's murdered somebody, chances are they're going to murder somebody again, so we want to punish them and protect society. Like could you still punish someone in order to protect society? Would that utilitarian wise would be justifiable, right? Like harming the one in order to protect the many. Yes, yeah, we are beautiful animals. Save, quit, reload. That we do. Like, who else gets trapped in existential thoughts? Like, I get super sad because I look at my dogs and I love them to death, and they're getting older, and like I'm anticipating them, you know, not being around forever. But they have no idea. No idea. They're like blissfully just napping or hiking or whatever, and I envy that sometimes. For sure. Yeah, it could be amazing. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm seeing if there are any other ones that I'm feeling interested in. Okay, we've got an atheist here. Sam Harris, American philosopher, born 1967, still alive. Oh, well, yeah. We do tend to put a different moral standard on killing somebody if it's an individual killing someone or if it's individual that's been sanctioned by a government to kill somebody. Yeah, there's so much complexity to morality for sure. And who do you punish, right? Especially if it's a soldier following orders. All right, so Sam Harris says, religion is the one endeavor in which us/them thinking achieves a transcendent significance. If you really believe that calling God by the right name can spell the difference between eternal happiness and eternal suffering, then it becomes quite reasonable to treat heretics and unbelievers rather badly. The stakes of our religious differences are immeasurably higher than those born of mere tribalism, racism, or politics. So yeah, I mean, it seems like he's arguing that because of the way some religions dehumanize non-believers, that the consequences of that are larger than normal politics or nationalism or racism. That's more powerful. I don't know, like, I wonder what the statistics are on people killing people on religious grounds versus racial grounds versus like national grounds. Which one really is more dangerous? But I think in general, anytime you dehumanize another person, you're much more likely to cause them harm. So it's probably something that we shouldn't be doing. Oh my gosh, Scott, I can't believe he doesn't know. He doesn't know. My dog does not know he's gonna die. He's not that much of a badass to just not give a fuck. He'd be sad. I've never heard that before, Robbie Ramrod. A betheist. I believe that I believe in a belief. Do you know what your belief is, or is that just a really catchy turn of phrase? Oh, what did the shack have to say? Okay, Francis Bacon, English philosopher and scientist, 1561 to 1626. A little philosophy inclineth man's mind to atheism, but depth in philosophy bringeth men's minds about to religion. I like that because he says inclineth and bringeth. And yeah, like, wouldn't that be interesting that that in order to find religion intellectually, you first lose religion and belief. And then if you stick with it long enough, you come back to it. I don't know. Maybe that is true for, I'm certain that's been true for some people. But he said, inclineth and bringeth. My favorite philosopher, I don't have one. I don't know enough to really say, but I do, as far as modern philosophers go, I really like Peter Singer. So I really care about animals, and he is like basically an ethicist who's arguing that we should treat animals a lot better. So I already have a huge cognitive bias towards him, but he's cool because he's modern and he's doing a lot of work that's been really influential. Yeah, I like him. How about you? Oh, interesting. Well, yeah, and like that's the thing, Save Quit Reload, like none of us are independent of our world, right? So like we're all raised in a certain economic level, with certain like bonuses and certain negatives. But that all of that contributes to the actions we take, at least to a certain extent. So my problem with punishing someone is like, how do you punish somebody but not also punish the society that created them or helped create them, or at least not acknowledge the hand that society played? Like poverty creates like such hardship for people that like I think then like punishing people for being poor, it gets really complicated. And just is it like in The Shack, it's just those complexities aren't always appreciated, right? And like dealt with, they're kind of just ignored. Hey, Azera43, welcome. Yeah. This one's funny. It says, I saw a divine being. I'm afraid I'm going to have to revise all my various books and opinions. Okay, Thomas Nagel. Nagel? American philosopher, ethicist, and social philosopher, 1937 to present. It isn't just that I don't believe in God and naturally hope that I'm right in my belief. It's that I hope there is no God. I don't want there to be a God. I don't want the universe to be like that. Huh. I wonder what version of God he's referencing. Because I don't want, like, the version of God that punishes, like, that did, like, Noah's flood and, like, killed all of humanity. Or, like, I think about, like, the idea that God sends people to hell, like, and that hell is literally where you burn in pain for eternity. Like, I wouldn't want that God to exist either. I don't want the universe to be like that either. I feel like I'm losing track of how these quotes are about life being meaningful. I think he's dealing a lot with whether or not life can be meaningful without God, which I very much feel like it is. Yes, Marcus Aurelius. Have you read any of Marcus Aurelius's actual work? Because I forget what it's called. What his main, like somebody basically like took his like journaling and collected it after his death, I believe. Oh my gosh. Okay, what time is it? Well, here's the thing. If burning for eternity sounds like a good thing to you, that's something that can be done right now. Don't wait. No, don't take that seriously. But you know what I mean. Hey, yay! Yay! Welcome! All right. So you like it. You like the philosophy quotes. Me too. I've enjoyed it today. I'll have to... It's something I think I'll do again. All right, let's see. This is Pascal, French mathematician and philosopher. Oh my gosh, I would have wanted my journals to be burned. I had a ton of them and I actually threw them away because I dreaded somebody ever finding them because they were crap. But yeah, if I was Marcus Aurelius, I'd want them burned too. Those are his private thoughts that we are now all reading. Yeah, I feel very similar, Save Quit Reload, that regardless of any of the big questions, like, I'm alive right now, and I'm either going to make a heaven out of my life or a hell out of my life, right? By the choices I make and the way that I think about my life. And so it's up to us. Like, it's all, like, it brings me back to when we did the cast on the meaning of life, like, we take responsibility and create the meaning of our own lives. Like, that's where it comes from. Nobody else can do it for us. And I think of that as such a beautiful, like, empowering idea. And I'm so grateful that I don't have to depend on anybody to make my life meaningful. That it just is. That because I take responsibility for it. Like, so great. Yes, it would go straight into the fire. Yeah, journals are dangerous things, as Marcus Aurelius and high schoolers have proven since the beginning of time. I remember in high school, I had a journal that I used to pass notes between my friend and I. I did it with like a couple friends. But one day, one of those journals got read by some of the guys. I got real pissed and I threw that journal into the river. One of the only times I've littered. Well, see, but that's the thing, Mrs. Scott Evans. Like, what if those journals, like, fell into my hands? Yeah. That quote earlier about two souls, like us only being half of a soul, like that was all over, I'm sure, my high school journals. Very painful. I don't want to remember that. I don't remember the stupid thoughts I had as a teenager. All right, Pascal, 1623 to 1662. Rationalist and Christian believer, says, "What I consider the short duration of my life, swallowed up in the eternity before and after, the little space which I fill, and even can see, engulfed in the infinite immensity of spaces of which I am ignorant, and which know me not, I am frightened, and am astonished at being here rather than there. For there is no reason why here rather than there, why now rather than then, who has put me here, but whose order and direction have this place and time been allotted to me." So yeah, like he was basically saying what we were just saying, that like, that we're alive. And the miracle of being alive now versus in the past or the future or existing at all. Like, the odds, so no one can really know the odds of being born, but mathematicians have tried, and I took that number and converted it to the odds of winning the lottery. So being born is like winning the lottery 290,000 times. That's insane. So yeah, we're like, I take that and go, oh, that's it. That's it. I'm going to appreciate my life. I'm going to live it really well, as best as I can. I'll take responsibility for it. It sounds like he's doing the same thing, but he's also feeling grateful to a higher power for creating him. Oh my God. Okay. I love it. A quote from my doggy. "Dogs are our link to paradise. They don't know evil or jealousy or discontent. To sit with the dog on a hillside on a glorious afternoon is to be back in Eden, where doing nothing was not boring. It was peace. Oh my god, I love that. Yes. Yeah, that just makes me want to go camping with my dog. Because it's true. It's true. They're like kids are like that too, I think, for a lot of people. Like kids say the darndest things. They just remind you of very simple truths. Yeah, and like dogs on average sleep 16 hours a day. When I have slept like a similar amount of time, I panic because I feel like I'm wasting my life because I'm aware I'm going to die. My dogs don't give a crap at all that they sleep that much. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Rob. All right, I'm getting really hungry and I'm getting tired, so I think I'm going to stop soon. I'll do a couple more. I'm trying to now I'm cherry picking them. Here we did them. All right, I'm not going to cherry pick them. Okay. Frank Close, British particle physicist. Also a monist/materialist. 1945 to present. Okay. You are made of stuff that is as old as the planet, 1/3 as old as the universe, though this is the first time that those atoms have been gathered together such that they think that they are you. That's pretty cool. That they think that they are you. I love it because he's saying, obviously we're composed of the building blocks of the universe, right? Which in and of itself is mind-blowing. But then to say that our self-awareness is a thought and that maybe our individuality doesn't exist as we think it exists is pretty profound. So it's like the universe is permanent, but we are very much not. It's pretty cool. Ooh, I'm going to do this just because I want to say his name. Ludwig Wittgenstein. I'm all proud of myself. American-British philosopher, 1889 to 1951. Analytic philosopher. Oh, cool. So you say, Quit-Urla, do you know a little bit about what he was saying with the particle physics? See, that's one of the things, I love to learn, and there's so much. I would love to know what a physicist knows. I would love to know, I just want to know it all. And I'm never going to, and it kind of bugs me. All right, I'm sorry. I keep giving the name and then not doing the quote. Okay, so Ludwig Wittgenstein. Death is not an event in life. We do not live to experience death. If we take eternity to mean not infinite temporal duration, but timelessness, then eternal life belongs to those who live in the present. Our life has no end in the way in which our visual field has no limits. Whoa. Okay. Wow. So it sounds like he's saying we don't, death's not an event because we don't really experience it, right? We don't exist after it. So if we take eternity to mean not infinite temporal duration, so not living forever, but just timelessness, not having time, then we can experience eternity by living in the present. Wow. I'm digging it. I think I get it, because what I've experienced of the present is a sense of timelessness. Because as soon as you start thinking about the present or the past, right, which is how you get out of the present, you're put into time. The present doesn't exist in the past or the past or the future. I think I'm messing that up. But the present is timeless. So yeah, you can experience eternity whenever you want, and at the same time we're all gonna die, right? So there's a paradox. that we don't have temporal eternity, but we can experience eternity if we choose to. Whoa. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Just because I'm still sick and getting better. But I gotta say, like,